Hey guys, today we're going to be learning about how to calculate the area and perimeter of triangles. Alright, and since it's our first lesson in our geometry unit, let's just review what area and perimeter are. Okay, remember, perimeter is going to be the total distance around a figure. So for example, on our triangle here, if we were to walk around the edge this way, and this way, and this way, that total distance that we walked around the edge is the perimeter. Now area is the amount of space taken up by a figure. So if we have our triangle, it's if we were to shade it in this entire space, or say, think about if I was going to paint the triangle, how much area that would be. And remember, when we calculate area, whatever units are, they're going to be squared. So remember, perimeter just has regular units. Area is units squared. And then volume, when we get to it, will be units cubed. Okay, so let's talk about the parts of a triangle. So you might see a triangle like this that has just a right angle right here. So this makes 90 degrees. And this would be the base, often abbreviated as a B. And then this would be the height. And we'll represent that with H. Okay, and we will not need to use the hypotenuse in our calculations here. So base and height only. The other way you might notice a triangle is if it's like this, one that does not have a right angle, we'll have a dotted line coming down to a right angle to measure our height. So this dotted line is the height of our triangle. And in this case, the entire bottom is the base. Okay, so we wouldn't want to measure the height as one of these angled sides. It needs to be perpendicular to the base. So here our height is perpendicular because that makes a 90-degree angle. Here our height is perpendicular to the base. All right. Now to find perimeter, we simply add up all the sides. Just like other figures that you've done in the past with rectangles and squares and all sorts of things. Now to find the area, our formula is going to be base times height divided by 2. And the reason we're dividing by 2, think about like a rectangle. If I wanted to find the area of the rectangle, say this was the base and this is the height, or the length and the width, you would multiply them together. The triangle is half of that, right? So that's why we're dividing it by 2. Think of you're finding the area of this entire rectangle, and then you're taking half of it for the triangle. So you might want to make yourself a note. Just think, if you're having trouble with that formula, think half of a rectangle. Obviously, this works beautifully here when we could think of expanding this out into a square. These are harder to visualize, so we would need to use our special formula, but it's the same idea. All right, so let's do a few examples. On example 1, we have this triangle here as a right angle, and this side is 8.5 yards, this side is 13 yards, and this side is 10.2 yards. So we're going to find the perimeter and the area. So for perimeter, I simply add up all my sides. So I do 10.2 plus 13 plus 8.5. When I add that all together, I'm going to get 31.7 yards. Notice the unit is singular because I just added yard plus yard plus yard to get total yards. When we do area, we're going to multiply the base, 8.5, this is the base, times the height, here, 10.2 yards. Notice those two are perpendicular, they share that right angle. This one is not needed for the area, we don't even need to worry about it. And then we're going to divide that by 2. Now notice when I multiply yards by yards, I get yards squared as my unit. And when I do 8.5 times 10.2 and then divide that by 2, I'm going to get 43.35 yards squared. So again, perimeter has singular units, area has units squared. All right, let's look at example 2. This triangle has sides of 11 inches, 11 inches, and 12 inches, and we are told that the perpendicular height here is 10 inches. Okay, so to find the perimeter, I'm looking for the outside edges. So I need 11 plus 11 plus 12. I do not need to include this height because it's on the inside. It doesn't do the edges. So 11 plus 11 plus 12 is 34 inches. For the area, I want to multiply the base, this entire thing, 12, times the height. And our height, we were told, was 10. And divide that by 2. Okay, so 12 was the base, 10 was the height. And when I do inches times inches, I'm going to get inches squared as my unit. 12 times 10 divided by 2 is 60 inches squared. All right, so let's do some try on your own. Go ahead and copy down this first one. We have this triangle here. It does have a right angle. We have 7.5 inches, 7 inches, and 9 inches for our measurements. So go ahead and calculate the perimeter and the area. Hopefully you've paused the video and now you're back with us. So to find the perimeter, we add them up. 7 plus 9 plus 7.5. Altogether, that's going to be 23.5 inches. And then for area, remember we need the base times the height divided by 2. This is not needed for the area. And remember, our units will be squared because we're talking about area. It would be 26.25 inches squared. All right, let's try another try on your own. Number 2. You're given this triangle here with a right angle. We have 16.7 feet. This part is 9.8 feet, and this part is 25 feet. Please find the perimeter and the area. Pause the video and do that. All right, hopefully you're back. Perimeter, remember I'm going to add up all 3 sides. So 9.8 plus 25 plus 16.7 equals 51.5, and our units are feet. For the area, I only need the base and the height. So I'm multiplying 16.7 times 9.8, dividing that answer by 2. So I end up with 81.83 feet squared, or square feet. All right, and number 3, this one's a little different, just think it through. I have a triangle inside of a square. The measurements on the triangle out here are 7 inches, and this part is 8 inches. The measurements of my square are 12 by 12, and this part around the triangle is shaded in. Now what I'd like you to do is find the area of the shaded region. So just this part that's shaded in around the triangle. All right, hopefully you took a good stab at that. Let's try it out. So to find the area of this shaded region, I'm going to find the area of the square, this big outer part, and I'm going to subtract the area of the triangle. And when I do that, I'll be left with the area of the shaded part. That makes sense? I'm finding the total area, I'm taking out this little bit, and what's left will be the shaded part. So for the square, I'm going to do 12 times 12, because that's length times width, right? For the triangle, I'm doing base times height, or 7 times 8, divided by 2. Okay, and then let's see what those would be. 12 times 12 is 144. 7 times 8 divided by 2 is 28. And now I'm just going to bring down my minus sign, bring down my equal sign, and now I can just subtract. 144 minus 28 is 116, and my units were inches squared. The area of the shaded part is 116 inches squared. All right, so let me know if you have any questions on your practice, and have a great day.